So the question is, when do I need my money? Time is a factor. Time is something that you should consider. Investing, investment, investing, investment. Yes, that is what I'll be talking about in today's video. One question people keep asking me on a regular basis is, what can I invest in? I have so much amount. What do I do with the money? What do I put my money into that will give me so return? And so in today's video, I want to look at all that you need to know regarding investment. And so, hello everyone, welcome back to today's video, to Money Matters and Inspire Living with Modupe. Remember, this is the home for all things personal finance, because your money matters, and also a place to get you inspired to be the best and become all that God has purported for you to be. So before we go into investment proper, there's certain things I want to first of all talk about. What is investment? What investment is not? Who should invest? What are the things that I can put my money into? I mean, the various forms of investment. And so this is part one of investing, investment. So what then is investment or investing? I'm going to define it in a very simple way so that you can have an understanding of what investment is all about. Simply, investment or investing is you putting your money to work for you. Many times, a lot of us go to work, go to earn money, either through our jobs, our businesses, doing one thing or the other, freelance, side hustle to get money. But we need to get to a point where our money will begin to work for us. And that is all that investment is all about. It is just a vehicle, a channel, a means, a medium whereby you put your money into something so that that money can generate much more for you. Sometimes you have to put in time, sometimes you have to put in money, sometimes you have to put both money and time into something, into a channel or into a vehicle before you start seeing the return. Let me give this example. Imagine you are in a point, you are somewhere, you are at home, and you need to move to the next point, maybe your office, or you have to go to your business. You have to take a vehicle, you have to get a means to transport you from where you are to where you want to be. So it's either you go by car, it's either you walk there, it's either, you just have to get to where you want to go from where you are. That is what investment is all about. It is moving you from where you are financially to where you want to get to. So it is a vehicle that you use, it is a channel or a means that you would use to make your money work for you. So simply, that it is what investment is all about. So before we move on, I also want to explain to us what investment is not. It is important we have an understanding of what investment is not, so that when somebody comes to us and tells us, look, come and invest your money in this thing, you know that sincerely this is not an investment. Because a lot of people confuse that word, or they misuse that word, investment. So what is investment? I mean, what is investment not? Number one, investment is not the same thing as savings. When I talk to people and I ask them, what investment do you have? People tell me, well, I have investment, I have my savings. Investment is not the same thing as saving. Saving is just an act of you putting money away for something. Either you are putting money aside for something you want to do in future, or you are putting money aside so that you can start your investment. But saving and investment are not the same. Saving should be for your short-term goal, or a lot of us cannot start investing because we don't have so much money. And so the advice is that save your money, put your money aside, put your money in a bank, either a fixed deposit or something, so that you can have an amount of money for you to start investing. So investing is not the same thing as savings. So when you say I have money in savings, that is not investing, because if you keep that money for too long in a savings account, your money tends to lose value. And when you're talking about investment is about you getting a return, is about you getting value for your money. So saving is just the foundation. Saving is just you putting your money aside so that you can put it into investment. Number 2, investment is not a get-rich-quick scheme. So when people come to you and say, look, put your money, bring your money, put it into this thing so that you can, in the next maybe 3 days or in the next 1 month, you'll get maybe 50% or 100%. Be careful. That is not investment. Investment is usually you putting money into something which we'll look at later, and then it brings you a yield, or it brings you, it raises the value, which normally is not a quick thing. It's not something that you do and then in the next month you get a return. That is usually what we call speculation in the financial world. I will not go into that right now, but it is what we call speculation. You want to beat the market, you want to time the market. Investment does not work like that. Investment is not a get-rich-quick thing. So when you want to get into investment, don't think, oh, in the next 1 month my money must double, in the next 2 months my money must double. Be careful. Investment is not the same thing as speculation, which most people want to do. They want to beat the market, they want to time the market and get quick returns. Investment is not that. Number 3, investment is not pyramid scheme. No, you have to be careful. That is similar to the second point that I have discussed. That is not investment. No. So be careful that investment is not savings. Investment is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is not pyramid scheme. It is not. So be careful, And the next thing I want us to quickly look at is who is investing for? Who is it meant for? Investment is for everyone. Investment is for you. Investment should for me. Whether you are a man, you are a woman, we all should be, participating in investing. In investing our money, in putting our money to work and to yield for us. So the next question is, what can I invest my money in? There are so many channels or so many investment portfolios, things that we can put our money into. We have so many of them, but before I go into them, there is something I also want us to consider, and this is really the basics of investing or investment. And these are the things that you should look out for, or the questions you must answer before you decide on which investment you should go into. The first thing, and as I list these items, what you should look out for, I'm not saying them in order of importance. No, I'm just going to discuss them, and as I discuss them, I want you to think about it. I want you to answer the question yourself, because this will be your guide as to what you should invest in. The first thing that you should talk about is the element or the foundation of time. Yes, time. The question is, when do you need this money? When do you want a return? Because when I say investment, I said it is a vehicle, it is a channel, it is a means, it is something that you put your money into for a later return, for it to get value and for you to get return on it. So the question is, if I put my money into this particular investment portfolio, when do I need my money? When do I need a return? Because when it comes to investment, some investments are good for short time, where some are good for medium term, and others are good for long term. So if, for instance, you need your money in the next maybe 3 months or in the next 1 year, is it a good idea for me to invest, for instance, in real estate, in buying of property? If I need my money, say in the next 6 months, Is it going to be a good thing for me to put my money into shares? So the time factor or the time element is very key. Ask yourself, when do I need my money? Like I said, some investment are for the short term. So some are for the medium term and some are for the long term. Short term goals are usually from now 0 to like 1 year maximum. And then when you talk about medium term goals, you're looking at between maybe 1 year. Some people will say from 6 months or 1 year, depending on how you want to classify that time. And then they say, okay, I'm going to put my money medium term from 6 months to 1 year, 2 years, and then the long term is usually any time from 2 years. Some will say 3 years to 5 years, 10 years, depending on what your classification is. So the second thing you must consider is your age. And age is very important. Why? The investment I would advise a 20-year-old to go into will be different from what I would tell a 60-year-old person. Why? Because a 20-year-old person still has time as an advantage to him or to her, while a 60-year-old person does not have time. Time, in fact, for him when it comes to investing is a disadvantage. So a 20-year-old can still afford to, try some investment and say, okay, let me do this, let me do that with my money. A 60-year-old person, don't forget, is somebody who has already retired or who is planning to retire. So what that person will be looking at, or what I would advise that person to look at, will be, number one, for the person to protect his or her capital. So it's more about protection, while for the other person who is younger, he or she has time on his age. So what I would tell the person should go into will be different. So I've talked about the time factor for when investing. When do you want the return? The second thing I've talked about now is the age factor. How old are you? It will determine what you should go into. The third thing I'll ask you to consider, or the question you should ask yourself, is what I call the risk versus the reward factor. Your risk factor, how are you able to bear the risk? Because when it comes to investment, while some investments are very risky, some other investments are not so risky. So let me ask you, if for instance, when you put your money somewhere, are you somebody that when you hear a report, or when you hear that maybe for instance you have your money in the stock market and then the capital market, and then you hear that the prices of shares have crashed, how do you react to it? Do you panic? Are you like, oh my God, what has happened? If you're that kind of person, it means that your risk tolerance is not so high. So I will advise such a person, what is your factor? How do you handle risk? If you're a person who you're so particular, you're always afraid, your heart is always in your mouth, when you hear a financial report, something has crashed, or recession, or inflation, if you are somebody who you are not so calm, then it's better you go for investments that are not so risky. But when you're talking about investment, what you need to notice, the riskier an investment is, the higher the returns. And then the less risky an investment is, then the less the reward is. So higher risk, higher returns. Lower risk, lower returns. That is what you should know. So am I somebody who can handle shock, who can hold shock? If not, go for the less risky investment. So another thing that I'm going to ask you, that I'm going to talk about, a factor, is liquidity. And what do I mean by liquidity? It simply means how quickly can I turn this investment into money. Remember, during the COVID-19 period, if all the investment you had was just in real estate, was just in property, and then you needed money to feed, you needed money to do things, how easily can you turn that investment into cash, into money? That is what we mean by liquidity. So when you're talking about investment, you need to ask yourself, can this investment easily convert to money? Can it easily convert to cash?